I'm about to get my bachelor's degree, which is surprising. Like, I can't believe it. I
Oh,
got my own place. I have a car. I have a job that I really like a lot, and there's a lot to be grateful for. It's just that skipping these stages of development, it's been really, really hard on me, and I need to figure out how to just get back on track and just feel good about life in general. I mean, what I wanted to talk about is like, mental health solution, like what are the solutions to that for men without without families, without support, right? Because I
yeah.
mean, I became homeless pretty young and came from a really hard environment growing up, and there was not a lot of support for me. Even taking support now is it's really hard for me to do because I feel like I have to do this by myself. And that's, I think, the misconception about a lot of people, especially men, feel like they have to do this alone.
What were some elements of your upbringing, your childhood that were most difficult?
My dad committed suicide when I was 12, and my mom she struggled with alcohol and drugs, and she ended up going to prison when I was 16. My sisters went to foster care. Like, just a lot of things happened early on that really stunted my development. All the role models I had kind of pointed me into this direction that was the wrong way.
Where were you?
It started in Alaska where my dad committed suicide, and then I moved down to Vancouver, Portland, Kelso, Washington, Longview, those areas. I went to a couple of different high schools. I think I ended up getting my diploma. I didn't walk with my class, but I ended up fast tracking it because I was going to go to the military. Like, I was all set, ready to go to the army.
Where did the idea to go into the army come from?
I thought that if I went to the army, it was my way out, right? I thought that I would be taught things and given the skills that I needed to live life and learn how to live because I just didn't really, like I said, I didn't have a lot of role models growing up. I didn't know how to take care of myself very well. I kind of felt like that was where I needed to go to the military and just get away.
And then what ended up happening that didn't happen?
I was on the phone with this sergeant just about ready to take off to Fort Benning, Georgia, and my mom called me. She said that she had gotten out of prison and that she wanted to see me before I left. And she had actually just met this guy that she married, and she only knew him for a month. And then she said she wanted to see me and she wanted me to come over and see her before I left. And when I went and saw her, um, I thought maybe I could stay here and then I don't have to go to the military. I could just stay here. And it was a really bad idea. It was a really bad decision. I regret it a lot, but I mean, maybe the same things would have happened if I would have went to the military. Like, I had this problem with authority, with managing my thoughts, and I still do, but like the thing is I thought that, my mom was gonna save me, but she didn't. And I've made decisions like that with relationships. I thought, like women, like my girlfriends, like are gonna save me, right? They're gonna save me from myself. And I think that's the misconception of it, right? Where I get stuck in these loops. That situation didn't work out. They ended up, starting to do drugs together, and it was a huge mess. And um, yeah,
I bet that is a pretty normal human phenomenon that even if we have parents who exhibit that they're lacking in being able to be responsible, ultimately they're still who we learned to depend on entirely when we were small. And so
right.
we even when we grow up older into teenagers or adults, we can still think that this person is capable of caring for me properly and being my savior. What you mentioned earlier reminds me of a book I just finished reading. It's by a guy named Rob Henderson. It's called Troubled. It's a memoir of his childhood, and he ended up going into the military. And the way he explains it is that for young men who are prone to making poor decisions, what the military offers is it severely constrains your range of decisions, and so you just unless you're willing to get kicked out, you have very few things that you have control over in your life. For people in that who are in that situation that aren't that responsible, it helps just eliminate a bunch of options for them and then get them through that period of male brain development to that place where we're now 23, 24, 25, and just much more capable of being responsible than when we were 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
What was your initial introduction to whatever you ended up becoming addicted to?
Yeah, it started off with the with like the pain pills and then alcohol, of course, and cocaine
Were the
and
pain
then
pills initially in response to like an injury, or you just got them to abuse them?
I think that my mom's boyfriend had a script. I remember taking one time and I was like, yeah, that's I need more of that, right? Like and it was alcohol was the thing that I could get the easiest. It was harder for me at 19 to get pain pills and cocaine. I think that I wasn't like I was not able and I'm still like I have a hard time regulating my thoughts, right? And and that is a lack of role models, relationships with other male figures, and it's just it so it started with the cocaine and then trying to figure out how am I gonna deal with reality and cocaine, pain pills, alcohol were what I could get.
Who were the men in your life when you were a teenager or, a young man in your early 20s?
Yeah, there was only like one, and it was my mom's boyfriend, my stepdad actually, and then I had another couple of I guess I had a couple of stepdads. I wasn't for some reason I wasn't able to like accept help from men for some reason. I don't know why. Like I just I think that I have a complex learning curve, right? And I just don't want to feel less than if I can't figure it out myself. Like I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to feel less than, somebody else. They have to show me how to do it, and then it might take a while for me to figure it out.
As far as men that were regularly interacting with you and playing any kind of father figure or mentoring role in your teens and early 20s, it was just your mom's
Yeah.
husband and other boyfriends?
Yeah, there was no other like mentoring or anything like that when I was younger. Who else w would mentor people if there's not like, stepdads, fathers, like family members, right? Like I don't know where else I would have gotten that, you
Yeah,
know?
good question. For me, through church. So there's other men at church, and then there's things like big brothers, big sisters. So sometimes parents, like a single mom, will go through one of those organizations and say, "Can you find a mentor for my son?"
Yeah, that just didn't happen. And so I think I shut the world out a lot and especially in my teenage years, I'd spend a lot of time alone in my room, like playing video games and yeah, I just spent a lot of time alone.
You had relationships with girls during the period when you had addictions.
Yeah. Hmm.
Were they typically also addicted to substances?
Yeah. I'm now substance use free for almost 6 years now. But yeah, a lot of those relationships, those were the qualities that I found with like people that wanted to also use substances. So, and I had a lot of like, year-long relationships, very unmanageable relationships. Like now I'm going to school full time, I work full time, and I'm really just trying to play the part so that I can keep everything afloat. And it's just a lot of pressure, and I missed a lot of stages, and I'm resentful about not doing the work when I could have, and so 23 I think or 22 was the first time I became homeless and I had to sleep in a shelter, and yeah, it was confusing, like not having a family at like 22. I just didn't really feel like I had anybody that knew me. I don't know why, like I always had that urge to like reach out to something that wasn't healthy, right? Like it was just like I didn't have that thing inside of me that said, oh no, Taylor, you should probably go join a support group and talk to people that might help you. No, 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 no. I'm gonna try to take the easy way out and latch onto some girl that's just gonna tell me what I want to hear, or for some reason, like the logic around like my decision making was always to try to find this easier and softer way instead of doing something that's hard and scary, right? And that might have way better results.
It kind of seems like you think that you were unique or you were different in that in being that way. To me, what you described sounds pretty like standard human nature that we want to take that easy route. And then, but then the way that many of us avoid those bad routes is because we have constraints through the role of parental figures whose job it is to constrain those poor decisions and channel us towards like developing good habits until we can do that on our own and it becomes easier for us.
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? So it's like what to do now, right? You know, what to do now.
What's your relationship with your mom like now?
She actually passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh
Um
gosh, I'm sorry. And you
and
have no brothers or sisters?
I don't talk to my family. Yesterday was a pretty hard day. I don't talk to my brother anymore. I can't be around him, and they still drink and smoke weed, and I don't want to be around any of that stuff. And my sister's the same way. Like I only really grew up with them for I don't know, just like a portion here and there, because it was unstable for us. I'm the only one that's of like my mom and my dad, and we all have different dads, and it's just a really divided family. And another brother of mine passed away, and a sister of mine passed away already, and just like a lot of it because of drugs and alcohol overdoses, suicides, things like that, just like riddled my whole entire family. I'm about to get my bachelor's degree, which is surprising. Like, I can't believe it. I
Oh,
got my own place. I have a car. I have a job that I really like a lot, and there's a lot to be grateful for. It's just that skipping these stages of development, it's been really, really hard on me, and I need to figure out how to just get back on track and just feel good about life in general. I mean, and right now it's just been really hard, but I've overcame a lot of things, and 6 years ago I was in really bad shape. I was homeless in Portland, and I was not doing well at all. I hadn't yeah, it was pretty rock bottom. It's been a really interesting crossroads right now, I'm really I'm just tired of faking it. You know what I'm saying? Like I really am. Like I need to come up with some solutions, and I haven't found any. I've found temporary solutions, like exercising, walking, like nature, hiking, things like that. Like I found coping skills now, right? I don't like AA meetings anymore because I don't think like the thought doesn't occur to me like, oh man, I'm feeling terrible. Like I need to use, right? I need to get high. Like that doesn't happen anymore, right? I do have like a hard time with like self-regulating my thoughts. Sometimes I go down into downward spirals, and then like this morning that was happening, and I was like, man, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I started listening to positive affirmations on YouTube, right? And like just self-talk and trying to like tell myself like, okay, I mean, I had plenty of offers to hang out with people on Thanksgiving yesterday, and I turned them all down. And then I ended up all by myself in my woes, like that was my fault. I mean, I had opportunities, like four or five people asked me yesterday, and I said, no, I think I'm gonna do it by myself. Like I think I'm just gonna, maybe it's a good idea to do it by myself. That was a bad idea, right? That was bad logic. I don't know, Blair. I'm just being honest, and I'm having a hard time, and I'm trying to figure it out, and it's been really rough. It's been a really rough ride, but it's also I want a success story. I really do.
you mentioned resentment earlier. I would guess that the part of what you're feeling is maybe comparing yourself to your peers, other males of the same age and thinking, well, many of them didn't have some like wasted years And so I feel like I need to catch up. Now you're saying that you are about to finish a bachelor's degree, you're employed with a full-time job. So like those are pretty solid elements of adulting.
But
Can you tell me more about where the resentment comes in? Like what are you thinking about?
yeah, I guess the resentment is what the hardest thing is trying to figure out a way um to help myself, right? That's affordable because I mean what are the options, right? Like that I know of. Trying to come up with a plan by myself is hard, but then a lot of people don't really talk about this kind of stuff. And so I resent the world sometimes because I don't hear people talking about this kind of stuff, right? And so me always having to be like on the helping side, right, versus the needing help, especially lately, like the last couple of years, I've been like a counselor and things like that. So I'm supposed to be like, oh, I'm supposed to be like together right here. Like I'm supposed to be the one that like that's like together and I'm not, right? And so, I have a counselor. I see a counselor once a week. So I guess that's kind of where I resent that maybe it's just my perception, but I feel like I wouldn't even know how to tell somebody that like I don't know how to manage my thoughts very well. And like what do I do about that? Like cuz I my first like my inner self would be like, "Oh, well, you know what you got to do. You have to go spend a bunch of money on therapy because nobody's going to help you for free." Like no, why would they want to do that?
Hmm.
And I don't know why I think that way. Or then I'll start thinking, even if they did try to help you, it's probably not going to work because I'm not gonna do it what they're saying it because if I don't come up with it myself, then I don't really want to do it because then it's like using somebody else's model and then I'm just gonna get then what I gotta do, it's like it's that I don't even know what that's even called, right? It's a stubbornness, maybe. Like maybe I'm just stubborn and I'm just like, nah, no, I'm gonna figure this out. And if I can't come up with my own model, then yeah, like so
Was that also your approach to how you overcame addiction? Like, do you look back and give yourself all the credit for that too?
no, yeah, it was the same thing. Like I spent years in addiction. Yeah, and it was the same type of stubbornness that kept me using and not asking for help even when I was at my lowest, right? Like I was really low and I still because I didn't really know exactly who I would reach my hand out to. But yeah, it was the same type of thing. Exactly right, right? So now I'm at a higher bar, like, I'm a lot more stable, right? Like I've been able to figure out how to man- manage my responsibilities, like I sleep, food, work, um school, exercise, making sure I'm socializing. Those are the
It's a
basic
solid
needs.
life.
Yeah, just more of that.
When you talk about needing a plan, you're in counseling weekly, like you're trying to get mental health um, help, and
Yeah.
it's still there's the spiraling that's pretty common for you, and there's these elements of making poor choices, like even yesterday, now regretting that you didn't accept an invitation. Is that what you mean by needing a plan? It's just on that element of your thinking?
I'm stubborn and then I don't ask for help and I don't utilize people around me. Like a lot of people, utilize like their peers and like other humans to like come up with even a better plan, but I'm afraid to do that. There's just a lot of fear, insecurities, low self-esteem. I'm trying to figure out a solution to that so that I don't put up these walls or not have any walls and then get resentful and then with these all these different types of connections and it's my job to be like supporting people in recovery in their journey and I want to be supportive and it just gets in the way.